A heavyweight showdown Saturday night at MSG. Jon Jones clashing with Stipe Miocic. During Friday's official weigh-in, Jones weighed in at 237 pounds, 11 pounds lighter than Miocic, who tipped the scales at 248. The two were originally scheduled to fight last November, but was postponed when Jones tore his pectoral muscle during training. Jones is a former UFC light heavyweight champ, owns the most consecutive title defenses in division history with 8. Stipe, a former UFC heavyweight champ, owns the most consecutive title defenses in division history with 3. They are decorated. Jones 27-1 with 10 wins via knockout. Stipe 20-4 with 14 wins via knockout. And for more, welcome in CBS Sports combat writer Shakiel Mahjouri. Jon Jones is defending his heavyweight title for the first time, but said he's prepared to vacate the title if he beats Miocic and fight for fun. Shaq, if Jones beats Miocic, do you really think he'll vacate the heavyweight championship?
The relationship between Jon Jones and Dana White is fascinating because at any time they can be on the same page. Dana White can be out here insisting that Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound #1 guy in the sport right now. And then you get a week like this where you kind of see some public negotiation taking place. Jon Jones has made it clear that basically under no circumstance will he fight Tom Aspinall, the interim heavyweight champion, in a title unifier. Dana White says it's Tom Aspinall next or nothing. Jon Jones has made absolutely zero. He's given no hint that he would fight Tom Aspinall. He said everything but I will fight Tom Aspinall. As of right now, if Jon Jones is told it's Tom next or nothing, I really wouldn't be surprised if we see Jon Jones retire or Jon Jones vacate the heavyweight title.
So we're not going to get any situation where if he wins on Saturday night, he lays his gloves in the middle of the ring.
He will not make that decision tonight. I'm pretty sure of that. If he loses to Stipe Miocic, I cannot see Jon Jones going out on a loss.
Right.
What's most likely, in my opinion, going to happen should he beat Stipe Miocic is him and the UFC are going to go back and forth behind closed doors. Jon is going to push for the Alex Pereira fight. And if the UFC tells him no, you got to defend that title against Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones will retire or Jon Jones will vacate the belt and pursue whatever it is that he wants to pursue.
Wow. So I love what you just said right there. If Jon Jones steps in the octagon against Tom Aspinall and we have some sort of negotiation and then he gets to fight Pereira, come on, right? There's got to be some give and take, right? Because that's a fight you want to see. I want to see. Everyone wants to see that.
I mean, if you go to the press, I thought it was just sort of the online crowd that was so determined to see Tom Aspinall fight Jon Jones. But you go to the UFC pre-fight press conference and the crowd is chanting, singing Tom Aspinall's name. This is the most deserving contender at heavyweight. He's the interim champion. What that suggests is that he is entitled to fight the undisputed champion, the disputed champion, Jon Jones, in a title unifier, or he should be promoted to undisputed champion should Jon Jones vacate. And it's one thing if Jon Jones stuck to, hey, Alex Pereira is the fight that I think will boost my legacy. It's the fight I want. If he just said that, I think people would say, okay, you are sidestepping Tom, but there's something to be said about Alex Pereira, 2-division champion, 3 title defenses, undisputed champion. But it's everything he said since that's totally diminished his case. He compared Tom Aspinall to Johnny Walker, who had about an 11-month ride as a possible future contender before that was derailed. Tom Aspinall, 4 years in the UFC, basically undefeated, excluding a freak knee injury. He has defended the interim heavyweight title, something only I think 4 other UFC interim champions have ever done. He has said that super fights, Jon Jones has called for super fights against Jamal Hill, a champion who never defended his title, an ex-champion, and Derek Lewis, a contender who hasn't won consecutive fights in several years. With every statement, Jon Jones is making it more and more clear that he has no good reason to not fight Tom Aspinall, except for the fact that he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall.
Well, he's made it clear. He's coming back from a torn pectoral muscle. Stipe is 5 years older than Jon Jones. The 42-year-old hasn't fought since 2021 when Francis Ngannou knocked him out and took the heavyweight strap. Shaq, what's the path to victory for Stipe here?
So back to Tom Aspinall, he actually shared his assessment for what his game plan for Stipe would be, which really mirrors Tom Aspinall's approach to the fight game, which is you need to cut off the cage, you need to back John Jones to the fence, and you need to make it a fight. Because what made Stipe Miocic so successful in his prime is he was what many heavyweights are today: lean, athletic, agile, a good mix of technical boxing, combinations. And this was in an era where you had a lot of big hulking heavyweights. You know, we weren't too far removed from the Brock Lesnars and the Alistair Overeems and the Bigfoot Silvas of the heavyweight division. John Jones has a lot of that. He's mobile, he's diverse in his abilities, he's athletic. John Jones does a lot of these things better than Stipe. Stipe has told me that he wants to make this a fight, and I'm absolutely confident that technique for technique, he's not going to be able to keep up with a guy who's 37 years old at 42. Stipe's got to back John up. He's got to give him no way out, and he's got to use that weight advantage that he has and land some knockout shots.
Well, John Jones sparked an equipment change. The UFC is ditching the new gloves, going back to the old ones. And Shaq, this is a significant change. When John Jones speaks, the UFC listens clearly.
Yeah, well, UFC President Dana White has said that this decision was not made for John Jones. It was made because a lot of fighters had been complaining about the new gloves. There was also statements floating around that because there's so many old school fighters on this card that they reverted to it. It's a little sketchy, I won't lie. John Jones has gotten a lot of heat over the years for his tendency to keep his hands out like this. And it's a technique sort of used to manage distance, but really what it does is it makes it difficult for your opponent to walk towards you without getting poked in the eye. And it's something that the referees have really cracked down on over the last several years. Dana White said that part of the intention of these new gloves was to reduce eye pokes. He says that not only has it sparked a lot of complaints, but that it hasn't done anything to reduce the number of eye pokes, and that's why they're going back. All I know is the sample size is too small. There are theories that the new gloves were causing less knockdowns. There are theories that the new gloves weren't improving the reduced rate of eye pokes, but we only had them around for like 5.5 months. We did not have enough time to really assess if these gloves were effective or not. And I think that's what's giving a lot of people pause that the week of a John Jones fight week, we're going back to what makes the guy most comfortable.
Well, maybe it's, John, we changed the gloves for you. Just go fight Tom Aspinall if you beat Stipe, right? There's all these little things to negotiation. We know him. John Jones has the most title fight wins in UFC history with 15. He's a massive favorite at minus 650. Shaq, what's your prediction Saturday night at MSG?
Give me John Jones by stoppage. Stipe Miocic has never been submitted. Stipe Miocic has a solid wrestling game, but John Jones took down Cyril Gane with such ease. And granted, Cyril Gane's weakness is the takedowns, is the wrestling game. I think John Jones holds far too many athletic and skill advantages against Stipe Miocic. He's going to take him down. He might submit him. I think more likely he gets into a dominant position and ground and pounds. But I'll say this, Hakeem, I love chaos. And for no reason other than that, I would love nothing more than to see Stipe Miocic sling that heavyweight title around his shoulders, walk off into the sunset, go save a cat from a tree and an old lady from a burning building, because he told our colleague Brian Campbell he already has a shift book at the firehouse. This man is a full-time, first responder during his UFC title reign, before and after. What a guy.
Yeah. It's Cleveland's own Stipe Miocic. It's my guy. So I'm rooting for Stipe, and maybe we keep John Jones around for maybe a fight or two more to stay in the UFC instead of going and fighting for fun. This, to me, would seem it'd be fun if you're fighting at this level at MSG. But we'll see. Shakiel Mahjouri here on CBS Sports HQ setting it up for us. UFC 309 from Madison Square Garden. And here's a look at the main card at UFC 309. The co-main event, a rematch, features Charles Oliveira against Michael Chandler in a lightweight bout. Previously met at UFC 262 in 2021 for the vacant lightweight title that Oliveira won via second-round TKO. Oliveira coming off a split decision loss in April, while Chandler last fought 2 years ago, got beat by Dustin Poirier. We'll have post-fight coverage of UFC 309 right here on CBS Sports HQ.